So guys, you just went under contract in your new home in Texas, and now that you got your email and your phones, you're blowing up with dates, deadlines, and documents. Guys, don't panic. So what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens next, step by step. So hey there, Cody Posey here, and thank you for joining me at Hill Country Real Estate with Cody. Please like, subscribe, and share with someone that you know that's purchased a home. As we've been going through this series for 6 steps, and today we're at step 5 of the home buying process. This is where I'm going to simplify purchasing the home with you buyers out there. So today's episode is about being under contract. So now what? Guys, the biggest thing is don't worry, because I'm going to walk you exactly what to expect between now and closing day. Everything from inspections to appraisals to even title work to that final signature. Guess what, guys? I'm going to have you covered. Now, guys, if you remember, I am a real estate here in the state of Texas, so everything I will be basing on is going to be of our policies here in the state, but do take note that each state is different. And guys, here in Texas, when you say that you're under contract, it means you and the seller has signed a legally binding agreement. So these terms are locked in: the price, timelines, contingencies, and everything else. But guess what? There is a catch. Just because you're under contract doesn't mean the home is yours yet, right? So there are still a few milestones to take clear before we get to that closing date. So the first critical period in the contract is going to be what's called the option period. Because right after you go into the contract, in the state of Texas, you're typically going to see a 5 to 10 days. Some states, they do offer what's called kind of like a due diligence period, but in Texas, you have to ask for that in the contract. Now, this is typically going to be 5 to 10 days, and what it does, it gives the buyer the right to cancel the contract for any reason within that window without the risk of losing your earnest money. And the best way that I could possibly describe this is like, think of this as your test drive of your home. Now, during this time, what we'll do is we're going to schedule your home inspection. We're going to do that immediately as soon as possible. And this is where we're going to check the home systems, your structure, your roof, foundations, electrical, everything that's very important in the home. It's also important to you as well. And look, guys, if anything does pop up, this is your opportunity to ask for repairs, negotiate seller credits, or guys, if it is a deal breaker for if something's wrong with it, it's your opportunity to walk away without risking that earnest money. And look, heads up, you're going to pay a small option fee for this period, and it's going to be separated from your earnest money. Now, that fee is typically non-refundable, but if you go all the way to closing, it's going to be returned back to you either through closing costs or concessions elsewhere as well. Now, as you look into the inspections, once the inspection's done, what I like to do is I go over the report together with the buyer. Now, expect this report to be long, and even on new homes, they will have a list. But the best thing to tell you is focus on the big ticket items such as like roof damage, foundations, HVACs, plumbing issues, things like that. And look, after that, you can look to the issues that are not overly costly, but they're also not cheap and last. And lastly, look at the minuscule problems that are not of immediate importance. And look, the way that you can negotiate this is you can request repairs directly. You can request a price reduction or in closing credits. All which have both got to be agreed upon in both the buyer and the seller. Now, remember guys, this is a negotiation when you're trying to negotiate the amendment for repairs. It's not a demand list, so the seller can come back and say no. But at the end of the day, it's about protecting your investment while keeping the deal while you're moving forward as well. So next, guys, if you're financing the home, your lender will order what's called an appraisal to confirm the home's value. If you are in a government-backed loan, such as a VA or an FHA loan, for example, you'll also have what's called an appraisal inspection that will help determine if there are any lender-required repairs that must be completed before moving forward as well. Now, guys, why does this matter? The bank is not just going to lend you the money because you apply for the loan or you've been pre-approved for the loan. They're going to make sure what the home is worth in their eyes, because they got to protect their investment as they are loaning you their money. And they want to make sure that home meets minimum property standards for all government-backed loans as well. Now look guys, if the appraisal does come in low, you may have to renegotiate. And I have had this happen before. The way you renegotiate is you can either lower the purchase price, you can split the difference, or you can cover the gap out of your own pocket. The bank is not going to cover that gap because they're trying to get you to the value of the house. But also, like when you look at it during this time, your lender may also ask for updated documents. So make sure, this is one of the key things, make sure that you stay responsive so nothing that gets held up that could postpone title. This is one of the most common causes of delays, and also where you'll see sellers, they'll get frustrated, and sometimes if you do miss closing date, they could potentially back out and you can lose your earnest money as well. Now, a title company is going to research the home history, so it ensures the seller has a legal right to sell it. And what this includes is like checking for any liens on the houses, unpaid taxes, or ownership issues as well. And guys, you're also going to receive a title commitment, and that's basically a promise that you've received a clean title at closing as well. Now look, one other thing, like if no survey exists, you're either going to have to buy one or you're going to have to negotiate the seller provides one. This is really important in areas like when you're looking at acreage, fencing, or easements as well. Pretty much all closings, you're going to have a survey. Either the title is going to approve it or they're not going to approve it. A lot of times you can negotiate, either party can be paying for that survey. Typically they can run anywhere between $400 to $800. Now, if you're looking at bigger acreage, that's where the price of the survey can get more expensive depending on the acreage. Now, right before closing, we'll do a final walkthrough, and these usually take place 24 to 40 hours beforehand. What we're trying to do is we'll make sure that any agreed upon repairs, they are completed, and the home is also in the same condition as where you agreed upon to buy it as well. Now, when it comes to repairs, I always ask for the receipts coming back to make sure also these repairs that get done. And after that comes closing day, and this gets real exciting because that's where you're going to sign all your paperwork, make sure you bring your IDs, and your funds are for closing costs. And one thing I stress, do not make any large purchases before closing because this can delay or prevent you from closing on your home. And look, guys, here in Texas, we have to wait for the loan to fund before you get the keys. And most of the time that is in the same day, but there are occasions that it may not be until the next morning. Now, this is why, like for me, what I try to do with my buyer clients is I want to close morning or early afternoon in case there are any issues. Also, one thing is I do not recommend closing on a Friday because if there are any issues with funding, you may have to wait until Monday to get your keys. And for a lot of buyers, that can be very, very frustrating because you're ready to go and you want to move into your new home, right? And look, guys, there's a lot that can happen between going under contract and getting the keys. But guys, if you have the right agent and team in place, it should be very, very smooth. It should be very predictable as well. And if you're buying a home in Texas and you want someone to walk you through the process step by step, I'm always here to reach out. Just comment below and I am here to help you out. And guys, again, one thing I do ask is like, subscribe, comment for more real estate tips, because every week I'm working to put pieces of information together for you so you could be a more educated buyer and you can make well-informed, well-educated decisions. That is my overall goal. And look, I'm working on a special next week as it is the end of our series, if I can pronounce that. So make sure you stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and guess what? I'll see you in the next video.